Thursday night from 7 p.m. on the streets 91.9.
Right. Shalom again.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Right. This is ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago. Again, ISUPK started out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Right. Again, we've been teaching this truth since 1969 to so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indian, that they are the children of Israel, right? Who again, have records inside our biblical history, which is the Bible, that consists of our, history that was left for us by our forefathers, right? Again, tonight, we have, a brother, a special guest as well, who dropped in, unknowingly with us tonight. It's Priest and Officer Barriat, right? Again, he from, up on this side where we call the north side, mainly Diego Martin, right? Right. So again, we're going to continue where we left off again, last week, Lord willing, right? And, to bring that reminder, again to brothers and sisters, again, call in, where's your calling number?
The numbers to call in is 342-0081, 466-5391, or 771-1791.
Right. So again, call in at this number, right? Again, I'm Priest and Officer Sawapiala.
Priest and Officer Matt Quack.
And Priest and Officer Barriat.
Right. So again, we in for a treat tonight, right? Again, and that treat is, is to bring that reminder to these 12 tribes, to these brothers, right? To the sons of Jacob, who, as Jacob's sons, right, basically or predominantly, they reside on, what we'd call the landmass of, predominantly on the Western Hemisphere, which will be North, South, and Central America, right? Throughout the Caribbean, right? Again, we are again scattered through the four corners of the earth.
Right.
Again, we have a lot of brothers traversing to and fro through other countries, but namely, right, tonight, again, we're going to, a lot is taking place right now down here on the ground in Trinidad, right? And in recognition of what is taking place, our brothers, the tribe of Asha as well. You again remember you could call in as well, Asha, right? And make your comment, add it, say what is going on, because again the people need to know what is going on right now in Trinidad and Tobago. And this is why we would be enlightening our brothers and sisters to be aware of who that is wrong about us. Again, knowing that we have enemies, right? And these enemies, only see it fit to do one thing, as the scriptures say, to seek, kill, and destroy. I didn't say that. It recorded inside our record. So it was a warning. So it's like you telling the children, hey, be careful who you're playing with.
Right.
Because this person that you're playing with only have one intention. Why they would know that? Because they understand or know the family background or history of these people. Right? So
like I said, I can't add into the saying, you understand? But we had to also look at too. When you hear the Venezuelans call the leader that leading Trinidad persona non grata, that is something that we have to take into serious consideration, because the Venezuelans know the history between us and them. They're very, very long and very, very excellent history.
Mm-hmm.
So when they make statements like that, they're not saying that because they just feel to say it or because it feels nice. They understand the history they have. Trinidad, they also understand the history Trinidad have with them.
Right.
Which is very important. Most importantly, with the USS Gravely coming down and the Gerald are fall on the way, they understand who this person is.
Right.
We might be watching from the aspect of, that is a good person. You understand? But the natives of Venezuela and also in Trinidad understand the nature of this person. You understand the nature of these people, which we're going to get into tonight, and our listeners could understand what really happening in Trinidad and also with their brothers and sisters that is scattered to the four corners of the world.
That's right. Right. So where we going?
Well, we could start at, let me start at two manner of people in Genesis.
That's right.
You understand? Because of course, time and time again, we always say the religious leaders not teaching the Bible.
That's right.
That is something we have to understand. They're not teaching the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? How much things happen from then till now You didn't see one religious leader come out and say, this is what we have to do as our people, which is something important.
Very solid point.
You understand? I heard one religious leader say, we just need to stay put. What that mean? You understand? The top religious leader in the country, stay put.
Right. So again, let we hear from the callers. Let we hear from the callers because again, you know, the ISUPK under Commanding General YAHANNA again, you know, we've been bringing out this truth, you know, on the radio station, and again, so far we are the only, you know, people here in Trinidad to really enlighten people, and not because, you know, we you know, want to, let me say, understand certain aspects or want to, you know, keep certain things to ourselves. It wasn't commissioned so, because Christ commissioned his men to go out and do what? To teach the people, to bring the reminder to the people. And who are the people? The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, right? Because again, we have a long history, you know, behind us, and that long history, to understand that, you must, you know, have a righteous or a black man that walking after the footsteps in the spirit of the Most High, and predominantly or recently, you know, King bringing and making us or bringing the understanding whereby today, you know, we could understand the entirety of this book and the purpose of our recorded for us now is to remind us, just as we say, to warn us about who our enemies is, and we should really not take this light, right?
And the religious leaders, of course, they're supposed to be the ones, as you rightfully say, not taking this light.
Right.
You understand? They're supposed to be the ones giving us the solutions, giving us the answers to what really happening now.
Right.
Because everything is recorded in the Bible.
That's right.
You understand? And now how you could just say, stay put, be a stalwart for what? The blood of Jesus, this blood of Jesus is not going to help us in this time.
Right.
And it was never helping us from before with our foreparents. You understand? The blood of Jesus can't do nothing. What we have to do is get in the book and understand what the Lord wants us to do.
Right.
Because it have things that we have to do as a people. You understand?
Right.
So like
and you know, and just as I mentioned, the blood of Jesus, and this is why, you know, imagery, and it's one of the topics that we might rather go back and touch on that too, because now that's very important as well, because now to understand and to see that doesn't matter. It covers or it sees a lot, because now to destroy that as I say, that imagery, and you thinking that what blood is these, as you say, religious leaders is talking about, is not the blood that, you know, who we understand and know what a black man did for his people in sacrificing and making, or, you know, demonstrating what it means to be, as you say, dedicated to in service of the Lord, right? And this is why, you know, when we're going to read or going to go into our history, because it is going to highlight and enlighten us tonight again of why we should be aware and whom we should be aware of, right?
Book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
Right. So now we hearing this name, or this brother named Isaac, right? And you know, a lot of us, you know, or again would hear that our records it mentioned that the scriptures mention or say that God is not the God of many, but the God of you know, of one, right? And why being one? Because now, like any, you know, government being set up, it must have a head or a hierarchy, and this is the structure that is being set up. And he said this as well: he's the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, who we're reading right here now, and the God of Jacob, whom we are going to read about shortly. So now Isaac, you know, being mentioned here now, you know, was where this line of this family seed, or as we say, this people is going to come through after, you know, his father Abraham, right?
Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Right. And who is she? This she is who? This is Rebecca, right? And again, Rebecca being, you know, the wife of Isaac, you know, she inquired, because now, just like any woman going through, you know, that time period of, you know, bringing forth, you know, children, or as we say, through birth. And again, we, you know, read about in Genesis, this would be one of, you know, the let me say, the complications that, you know, our sisters, you know, would you know, face because of you know, not taking heed and, you know, listening or taking that covering where they're supposed to, you know, stay within their bounds under their husband. Right. So now, you know, again, the sister went and inquired, because now again, these complications, you know, were so intense, right, within her. Right.
Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
And this is something that, you know, would not be taught and again, would not be taught in any religious organization.
Right.
Because now when we hear nations, we would think that, you know, wherever I reside or wherever I live, you know, that would be the nation that I belong to. But that is not true.
Right.
Nation means race.
Okay.
Nation mean, you know, the family line that you're going to come from. Nation is very important. So now the Lord is doing some, you know, and again, when you go back and you read, a lot of these nations, what we are touching on in Psalms 83,
right,
you know, came through the loins of, you know, of men, you know, that predominantly became nations or races of people.
right,
Right. And they today, you know, again, you know, looking at, you know, what happening with you know, the US president visiting China, all that tariff he put on them, and with all that fentanyl, you know, come to a conclusion. How come he didn't, as you say, drop two things on any things that coming from China,
right,
or you know, or you know, surround China, send warships down. But again, it goes to show, just like we were talking about last week, they are confederate. They sit together. So now they would come to a mutual understanding. This is where it is.
right.
Because now they know that if anything overspill within their, you know, their meetings, you know, it will have a lot of repercussions, because now this one had this on this side, blazing on this side, and this one had this blazing on this side. So now it could cause a lot, let me say, innocent lives. But to us, in the face of them, lives don't matter.
Right.
Like as you say, Black lives don't matter. And when I say Black, I'm talking about these 12 tribes, these sons, the sons of Jacob. So now we read, we say, the Lord, she went and inquired unto the Lord, and it said 2 nations of people. Right? Let me see who these 2 nations are.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Right.
And 2 manner of people.
Right. 2 different personality. These 2, you know, this twin in her womb has 2 different personality.
Right.
Right. And their personality, it differs so much that even to today you're seeing it. Right. Go ahead.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Right. You hear that, and keep in mind this word, separated.
Right.
Separation is good. It has its benefits. And you know, you want to know why it has its benefits? Look at, as we say, the Chinese man today. Look at the so-called Caucasian, or as you say, Esau, the white man today.
Right.
Look at, as we say, Elam, or the East Indians today.
Right.
Look at the Africans today.
Absolutely.
Right? Because again, just as we're touching on that, since, you know, or what took place, you know, big shout outs, you know, to ISUPK Jamaica, right now on the ground in Jamaica, you know, in the midst of what took place with Melissa, right? And again, the Lord is the one what will bring us back together again. Right. And again, you know, the Lord has soldiers, you know, men that was raised up under commanding General YAHANNA. Again, big up, you know, to officers Abadawan, right? And big up to officers Kayadwan, you know, out there in Jamaica, you know, holding it down, you know, and again on the ground as well, you know, making sure that the people in Jamaica, you know, get the aid and the assistance that they need. And we say, you know, our prayers is always out for our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. Right. So we continue on.
And one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Right? And why it's saying that? Because now it goes in many different ways. Strength, you know, you could use strength in many different ways.
Right.
And you could your weaknesses, it could show that you're not strong in many different ways. That they would use what we would call bullying,
Right.
to show your strength. And this is why when it mentioned, or it give a good example that one people is going to be stronger than the other.
Right.
The only reason why this other people is at this point in time holding that position is because, as we say, a sense of bullying.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
Right? And it says the elder shall serve the younger. And this is something to take note of.
Right.
Because, you know, a lot of people like to hear and read about this, and, you know, say that, you know, Jacob, you know, steal the birthright. But you see this right here? This is why, again, to, you know, General Hyman, again,
Right.
you know, in his being raised up under commanding General YAHANNA, you know, breaking down these scriptures and making sure that brothers, you know, in this truth, in this work, you know, get the understanding. Because to know and to understand this says a lot. Because
Right.
now it shows you who this promise is actually going to go to.
Okay.
Right? So it says the elder is going to serve the younger.
Right.
Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were twins in her womb.
Right? So these twins were in her womb. But keep in mind that these are two nations, or two manner of people, different,
Right.
again, different mindset or different thinking. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Right? So the first that came out would be who? Would be the elder. This would be the elder.
Right.
And it give a description of him. Right? And this is why we say color does matter.
Right.
So within that description, we know that it's like, again, black people talking a red man.
Right.
So now it actually showing that, you know, that color are this individual. And again, this can be proven in Genesis as well, you know, in the earlier part of the chapter as well, to understand that, you know, what it's showing is just, again, that pigmentation of his skin tone, or skin complexion.
Okay.
Right? Go ahead.
And they called his name Esau.
Right? And today, the so-called white man would be called, today everybody know him as, you know, white man.
Okay.
But biblically, his name is who? Esau. Take notes.
Okay.
So you wouldn't be, again, this is really to highlight or to enlighten all people. So you know, when you hear Esau, you would know who Esau is. Right? The so-called white man. Right? Go ahead.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
Right? And his hand took hold of the heel of his brother, and his name was called Jacob. You notice it have a little more?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
Right.
Verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
This is something very important to take note of.
Okay.
When you see what is actually taking place right now, you know, throughout the world, again, what we were taking place in Russia and Ukraine, and what taking place right here now, as we see, as these ships, as the brothers mentioned earlier on, that surround or as we say, have, you know, position in the Caribbean Sea at present. You should know that the people that you know, giving directions or orders to these ships are cunning hunters.
Right.
This is who they are. Right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents.
And again, when you look at, as you say, look at the spirit of the vibe, as we say right now at the president right now, you know, in Venezuela, Asha, at most or the majority of the time, you know, he would be asking, hey, or they don't try to escalate this. All their speeches or all they don't escalate this,
Right.
because it's a plain man. This is the bloodline that he came from. It's like, hey, let me get a solution to resolve this. Let me look to make this not something that would spill over.
Right.
But again, because of not knowing who we are and not understanding who we are, as you say, our identity today, now we wouldn't recognize these other people or these other nations, right? So this plain man that as you say, that dwelled in tents, always, never in to go up or to come against anybody in any conflict. That's why we say, hey, don't believe that that you would see us here, but when come times to defend ourselves, we're going to defend ourselves.
Right.
We would defend ourselves. So despite he being plain, he was trained as well to know that, hey, there is always a defense line within, or as you say, always have, as you say, that space to be within, right? Let me just take this forward.
Yeah.
Yes, brother.
Hey.
What biblical support do we have to show that the Venezuelans are Jews or Israelites?
Right. The biblical support that we have to show or to prove that is what we are reading about right now, because now where their line, or they came from, they are the seed of Jacob. Right? Jacob name was changed from Jacob to Israel. Right? And they are the sons of Jacob. So they would be, the sons of Israel. So they are Israelites as well. Because when you go and you read again, I think in Genesis 49, it will give a list on that. And even way before that, when Jacob, was, at Laban's, dwelling at Laban's tent, right? And he his wives, because he had 4 wives, these is where these children came out. And I think the tribe of Asher came from, Leah's handmaid, which was Zilpah, right? And this again is a son of Israel, right? So this is way more than biblical proof.
Hearing it here, but after the discussion, the Asher, they would have been in the 10 tribes, right?
Right.
That would take the captive by the Assyria.
Right. Then the book of that. Just now, call her just now, because now remember this as well, and you're calling in, to draw some points as well too. And this is where we say, it might how other people want to call in as well. So we, in respect and to have that proper dialogue, we ask brothers to call in. So like if you ask a question, you could give other callers chance as well, for they to ask a question as well, right? So your question, we just answered, right? And in respect, as I said, to be a brother as well, which we teach brotherhood inside here, is how to be a brother. So I will, try to, to take up let me say, use up the time. I might just call and ask a question, and we tell that this is where we say, hey, let we be respectful to one another. Let we understand one another. So I hear you. I hear your question.
I know that could take some time. But I want to
right.
But just ask us one question.
Right. Go ahead.
This will be short.
Go ahead.
Now, we focus on the 12 tribes, the descendants of Jacob's children, right?
Which is Israel.
Right. But a promise was given to Abraham. If you look in Genesis 15, that his seed would be of the staff and so forth. But we know that not only the 12 tribes will be seed, we have Abraham or children. How could be that? And I'm not talking because I know you're on a program and I can't talk to
I appreciate that. I will answer that, and I will answer that
because I am.
All right, right. So again, the caller asks a very, important question, and,
Right.
and a lot of us today, and again, it's because, like a draw reference because of the religious, teachings and the religious doctrines. This is what has or have our people in confusion, because now we would know that Abraham had more than one son, right? But now who the promise went to, and just like been taught to us or been raised up, where we had to understand that this book is our history book,
Right.
and in our history book it speaks about everybody else, right? And it will name, as we say, the prominent men who this line or who this lineage is going to come through. So Abraham being, the prominent person at that time chosen by the Lord, now his seed, because now when you go back again, just to touch on what I was saying, that when Ishmael was bring forth, right, and his mother Hagar, right, as you say, being a heathen or being an African, or Hamite, right, she was, let me say, in the position where her son, would be or known to be the firstborn of Abraham, right? And because of what was promised through Abraham by the Lord, that this family would always stay a family.
Right.
And Sarah being, Abraham's wife, in her time in bringing forth Isaac, there was a time where this, as we say, this bond woman and her son would mock the children of the promise. And because of doing that now, it was told, that Sarah told Abraham to cast out this woman and her child from amongst, this, because now it's like this. I don't want to see, or my child growing up, to be in, let me say, to be in nickname, just like today they would call us all kind of derogatory names. So again, separation again, just as we read here with that separation. So with that being, highlighted, she went before her husband, and her husband, knowing that, hey, this is my firstborn, because remember, I come from a line, just like any father would have children, he had care for the boy, for the young lad. But listening or hearkening and knowing that, hey, Abraham was obedient unto the Lord. And as the scriptures mentioned in our records, it was known to him to hearken unto the voice of thy wife, Sarah. And what did he did? He did hearken unto it. So now, this son, or the sons of Abraham, that doesn't mean to say that they wasn't blessed.
Right.
The scriptures mention that they were blessed. Yes, no, yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, good night, caller.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. You could give a name or location, if you don't mind.
As soon as I say for a long time, I get on the program for that. Sometimes I think I'm on the program.
Okay.
But when Trinidad and Tobago with it,
All right. What was telling the caller before, for brothers and sisters who calling in, if you could ask a question, because the time that it run up so quick now. So if you have a question or a comment or a statement to make, you could make it, and we will take it from there now. Right? So we give it, it's like what we've been taught to demonstrate the level of brotherhood. Because again, a lot of brothers and sisters would be, want to chime in. Even Asha, where people would say the Venezuelan, they are brothers. right? They might want to call in as well. So we just going, along that line, in reminder to the callers as well, right? So again, callers, when you're calling in.
So in other words, they're controlling the more people.
No. I just making mention of it. Mention of it. So you could go ahead and make a comment or a question.
Because you might want us to ask questions, right? But the questions we may ask, I believe you really want to answer them because I want to believe that you want to stuff that's abide from what you say. Because the compliment, I see the point in our history. I see the point towards what the ISUPK. And I and you spoke already, and again about that same conversation that I said I might not have called anyone. I'm still hearing the same thing because just now you just say along you talk about Taylor and Sarah. Now you talk about Taylor, but you're aware that Taylor was the servant of Abraham and Sarah was the wife. Now, in saying that, you dropping a piece of consciousness right there that show that Taylor was of a different descent, was of a different heritage, and in Adjumma, that was an Egyptian. So, being an Egyptian was being black, was now, you see, I don't have a friend that people recognize that there is history, and according to the Bible, there was history before the actually, the people, which I tried, it's a family, but I fear because that hero was going into Egypt, and he told his wife, stand up that you are my wife, because they were killing, because recognize you are fair. When in Egypt, so eventually, when he got it, and he lied, they said, that is a people issue, but because there is generation that when the family started to work in the son, and every man, you all the time, not you, but people, you all the or when I speak of how much the heritage, what you have to tell it in heritage is a servant unto his brothers. So that's the command is a servant unto my brothers. The writing for things that Asha and all of them way who is Israelite because I is one.
All right. Well. Just now, caller. Just now. Right. So just now, we're caller. So you make a statement, and this is what we say: we are out here for the 12 tribes of Israel.
Absolutely.
We are not here for no Africans.
Correct.
So if you just wait, you can all on the outside, right? And this is what we go say now. We're not here for no Africans.
Absolutely.
So if an African call in and want to talk, you could go to an African group.
Absolutely.
Go to an African group. Come together and all make dialogue.
Right.
Asha and Diane need right now.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Asha is we brother.
Right.
So now the statement you make, you give me all clarity to make me know that I don't really have to, have any dialogue with no African because again, we out here for one purpose, for this family,
right.
for this house.
Right.
And if you are not part of this house, then you make enough for you. So and we keep on saying this over and over, right?
We are here for the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel.
This is who we are here for. So in all, as we say, in all due respect, you could go to, as we say, to the African Council, sit down with the Africans and all sort out all the African. But again, we are not Africans, and
right.
we making it clear.
Right.
This clear as daylight, because no African never went through no cotton field.
Right.
As they would mock us and call us Akata.
Okay.
All these African nations, as we say, and this is why again it really the topic very, as we say, very edifying.
Right.
Very edifying to make it known that who our enemies are, and this is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Because now if you would come up and try to defend, because he defending this African right now, I don't name him as that.
Right.
This African, just as we in one of the class we were talking about 3,000, about 3,000. So
right.
he probably one of them African and
right.
them. one of them African and them. So now you could, meet up with Mutumfo or wherever,
Right.
and seek out all your business. But right now we on Asha and Danny right now.
Right.
Asha is like in a position where they are surrounded right now,
Right.
and it's like what we say when they see the Romans surpass or surround Jerusalem right now.
Desolation there of his
Yeah,
mind.
because why? They are right now, war is going to be waged on Asha.
Right.
And in that conflict, our brothers and sisters right here now, not as we say, the Africans probably have a right back, just like as we say, the so-called East Indians have a right back home to their, to their family. But we, the 12 tribes or descendants of Jacob, our ride is, nowhere outside, but in the hands or
Right.
in the Lord's will right now, for us to do what? To turn to Him right now.
Right.
So what is taking place? These nations is coming up upon us, and we at no point in time, as we say, look at what happened in Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Why I would say up to now we near African. Yeah. Go ahead, bring it out.
So
Yeah, yes.
No African nation wrongs enough troops to go and help Jamaica.
Yeah.
No African nation saying, well, look what's going on with Venezuela, look what happened with Trinidad, let me go down and support, or let me voice at least our opinion to say, these are we people that need the assistance. No African nation. You understand what's happening with Haiti for years?
Right.
No African nation.
Nobody.
You understand?
Yeah.
But as soon as the hair started talking about the Bible, religion steps in the mind. And this is what has been destroying our people for generations. Religion and doctrine. You understand? We come on this radio station to give the people the basics for them to start to understand. You understand?
Right.
About the Bible, understand about the other nations. What is the name of these other nations?
Right.
You understand? What is their role?
Right.
What type of behavior, what type of attitude they have towards these other nations? What about the 12 tribes? Who are they? You call them, like you call them before, make a very good thing. How will you be able to determine that?
Right.
Go to the book of Genesis chapter 49, see where the father left, or where he show all the children would be. You understand? Go to the book of Deuteronomy, show when before Moses died, he blessed the 12 sons.
Right.
You understand? And tell them where they will befall in these last times. Show them, hey, Asher's foot will be dipped in oil.
Right.
This is not talking about olive oil from a bottle in the store. It's talking about oil.
Oil.
That the Lord, you understand, gave to these people.
That's right.
This is what we have to understand. This is not a time for doctrine.
Yeah.
You understand? An African philosophy. This is a people, as you was rightfully saying, in dire need. These people need to understand who they are. We in Trinidad need to understand who we are, because we are surrounded by people that we don't know about.
Right. Right.
We think we know. We think we know the East Indians. We think we know the Syrians. We think we know the Chinese, the Japanese, and all these other people. We think we know them.
Yeah, we think we know the Africans.
And most importantly, we think we know the oppressor, who is the so-called white man that come down in this U.S. warship.
That's right.
You understand? We think we know him.
Right.
We think we know his tactics. You understand? Coming on with the Gerald Alford, and we think, I want to go and get a career. When war is in his heart.
Right.
As the scriptures say, our forefathers left these records showing us the nature of these other nations, the nature of these people. And we want to start, we want to stand for doctrine. And how much time Abraham made children, and how much wives he had. You understand? While all that may be important, we have bigger and more pressing issues.
That's right.
Our people dying by the sword. So look what happened in Rio de Janeiro yesterday or day before. Look what happened to the people. The white man raging warfare on our brothers on that side. You understand? The Brazilians, we think this is play.
And again, all they are Asha as well.
They are Asha as well. We think that this is play. When the so-called oppressor using his war tactics, because we just looking at politics and politicians and people that not here for us.
This is way more than that.
This is absolutely way more important. When we looking at what happened in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, seeing the oppressor raging war on our brothers across there, using different war tactics and making you feel is drugs.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have people across it doing drugs. Just like you have
Yeah.
people here.
Yeah.
You understand? The biggest drug lord that ever passed through Trinidad. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
Just like you have people here.
Right.
We in the ISUPK under commanding General YAHANNA, the scriptures tell us they should never suffer which to live.
Right.
We don't endorse people doing drugs.
Yeah.
We don't want people even to sell it to our brothers because
Right.
it's right in the scriptures.
Right.
You understand? But look at the things that the oppressor doing. Look at the wiles.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the nations them around you.
Mm-hmm.
Black people in Trinidad understand the oppression they're under. You understand? But to get a voice, the white man palm it off with religion. So now we tie up and we just speak for our brothers and sisters. And as soon as a black man open his mouth, problems.
Yeah.
So like,
Go ahead, Amos Barrett.
Yeah, one of the most important things with the ISUPK, breaking down the nations and them and the characteristics. I'll give a little example. Like in a zoo, you would have different animals, and the zookeepers know some is preyers and some is predators,
right.
And they know to separate them,
right?
And they know that they can't be together. But Christianity now has whitewashed us to the point that we just be together. The
right.
preyers and the predators just be together.
Right.
So it's very important to get the knowledge from the ISUPK, so you would be able to identify the predators,
right,
and be able to keep you, your family, and your community safe.
Correct, absolutely.
Very, again, good point, Officer Barrier bringing out, right? And, again, the importance of as we say, is to bring this reminder out, is to remind our family,
right.
our house. And again, we are not here, to, as we say, to go or to inflict on any other house or to come up against any other house. But what we do now, just as you mentioned, we are bringing the reminder to this family to know who the predator are.
Right.
This is who we bring in, this reminder. And the reminder is straight and direct in our records. This is why when we start right here in the book of Genesis to bring that reminder to this house, to this family, right? What we going after?
Let me go to the book of Deuteronomy,
right.
28, Bible.
Right.
Right. Understand? Let me see what happened to our people during the time of slavery and what the Lord told us. You understand? Right. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and just code it. Give you the Bible.
Right.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy 28 and verse 48.
Right.
Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, till he have destroyed thee.
This is what going on with our people right now. The Lord said is going to do what? Serve our enemies. Right now, black people are at the bottom. Black people is at the bottom of all these other nations serving them. You understand? When you listen to what the brothers bringing up before with Genesis, when they say the elder is supposed to serve the younger, that is what's supposed to be happening. But right now, the younger serving the elder. We teaching our people, we bringing these things to teach our people and show our people what is in this book that these religious leaders not bringing out. You understand? The Lord tells us that He's going to serve our enemies. Then you must ask yourself the question, who are these people that is being called our enemies? We went through that last week.
Right.
The book of Psalm chapter 83.
Right.
You understand? Where our forefather David prayed to the Most High because he's seeing the things that is happening to his people. And telling the Most High, hey, don't keep silent. Don't hold your peace. Because look what these nations doing. And he call out the names. You understand? The Chinese, the Japanese, the Moab and the Hagarenes, the Africans. This is the thing that we have to understand. When we start the program a little while ago, and we were talking and showing whereby one religious leader come out and say, stay put. It's not time to stay put. This is time to show what's going on. The Lord tell us we're going to be sold unto our enemies. You understand? And with that happening, we were sold for what? Bondmen and bondwomen when they go down to verse 68. Slave men and slave women. The Lord tell us no man is going to buy us. Which means we are still in captivity. Now, if we are still in captivity, And the Lord tell us we're going to be sold to our enemies. Then you have to find out who is these enemies.
Right.
And that is will be coming out now. Two manner of people are in thy womb.
That's right.
You understand? Jacob and Esau. Esau, the so-called white man. And throughout look at the history of the oppressor. Look at the history that he been doing to all nations. You understand? You think the East Indians do a history with the white man, understand any things he doing, the oppressor? You don't think the Syrians are history?
Right.
You don't think all these other nations are history with that oppressor? That is why the Venezuelan Prime Minister and Vice Prime Minister, whoever the case might be, could say what they're saying about the oppressor.
That's right.
You understand? That is why they could say that they're saying they're playing with somebody you don't know.
Right.
You don't know the wiles of the oppressor. You don't know the wiles of the white man. You understand? You don't know his war tactics and his warfare.
Right.
To destabilize nations.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And you know, take note, Trinidad and Tobago. Take note. If you're so-called Black, Latino, or Native Indian in Trinidad and Tobago, take note. Take note. Because again, a lot of our brothers, you know, or sisters, as you see, even the natives or the first people, you know, it had an article even coming out showing, you know, our brothers and sisters, you know, at the show.
right.
You know, and all of this is because again, what our enemies have always done. And you know, a lot of our enemies would say, hey, send them back. Send them back. Yeah, the thing about it, this is a question. When, you know, you all came, as we say, in whatever, you know, time frame or period, were you all given or were you all told to be go or head back or go back, like how you tell, you know, Asha, go back Venezuela now?
Right.
Were you all told that from the native Indians?
Right.
Were you all told that? As we say, Asha, it was never told to you all.
Right.
Because you know why? These people, you know, we don't wage war with nobody. But when war is waged against us, we would defend ourselves.
Right.
And here the thing about it, in defending ourselves, now we know who we turn to. We don't, as we say, we don't, you know, how, as we say, drugs, as we say, guns is or being placed in the community. How it is being placed in the community. Not by we have no, just as I say, we have no might, no power.
We have no might, no power.
No power.
Right.
We don't have that. We don't have that. So why this reminder is being brought is for us to know who our enemies are.
Right.
And again, the Africans or the Hamite, they being chief because they were the ones who wronged us up and sold us onto our oppressors to do what? To bring our forefathers here on cargo slave ship.
Right.
This is why when we talk concerning, as we say, the children of Ham, we would make it known to the people or to the family of this house to beware of these Africans and them.
Right.
These Africans and them, they would just use, as we say, tactics to make it prove like, you know, well, we's one color,
right,
you know, the skin complexion, but within their heart, they would always wage war. All of our enemies would always wage war against us. And this is why this house of the sons of Jacob should be reminded. Asha, this is a reminder for all our Asherite brothers and sisters that dwelt here in Trinidad and Tobago. You all are family.
right.
And black people, or the black men, as we say, in Trinidad have been treating Asha as family. Only, as we say, our oppressor who would go against them. Because why they would go against them? Because they right now, as we say, the Elam is feeling left out right now.
Okay.
They're women. So this is why they would try to wage war against Asha and
Right.
see what Elam is doing right now in having, you know, or sitting in that seat or that position of authority.
Right.
Right? What you will
Let me go to Deuteronomy. Hold on, right? Deuteronomy 33 and 24. Bible question.
Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33 and verse 24. And of Asher, he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. You understand? That is talking about the oil reserves that is over in Venezuela.
Right.
The prophecy is that he is going to be acceptable to his brethren. The Chinese wouldn't accept the Asherites, neither these other nations. He's going to be acceptable to his brothers. You understand? The Benjamites, the Judites.
Right.
You understand? Those from Mexico. All the next 11 of his brothers, the Lord say, man, let him be acceptable to your brothers.
That's right.
You understand? And that is what's happening right now. That is why you're not seeing, as you were rightfully saying earlier, the Africans rising for the Venezuelans. That is why you're not seeing the Elamites, who is the East Indians in the Bible, rising for the Venezuelans. You understand? None of these other nations. But the Lord says he will be acceptable to his brethren. And we go fight for our brothers.
That's right.
And our sisters.
That's right.
You understand? And bring them back to being the people that the Lord wants them to be. Because when you look at it, nobody wrong about, it's not here.
That's right.
For these 12 lost tribes.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
When you have a great Bible question.
Book of Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. Never trust thy enemies.
Read that again, Babakosha.
Never trust thy enemies.
When we bring out or we bring the reminder to this house or to this family, and we speaking, to this house or this family, and again, if you notice, every time when we speak direct to our brothers, we speak direct to this house to bring that reminder. But we remind our brothers and sisters, don't go the way of religion.
Right.
Don't go down that pathway of these other nations. Because the scripture says never do what?
Never trust thy enemy.
Go ahead.
For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
Right? Anybody who know what iron is, and when it rusts, it corrodes. So you might see it all shiny and new and say, yeah, boy, that's good. But there comes a point in time where it corroded. These other nations might be seen shiny in your face, but after a period of time, they would be corrupted.
Right.
They sit on the UN board. These are who they are, these other nations. This is a reminder to you all, brothers and sisters. Never trust the enemies.
So like they say, even when they see the USS gravely coming down, they say it's just a warship coming down. And then when the warship come down, now you're seeing Osprey, V-22 Osprey. You understand? And a set of other things that came down with it. You understand? That's why the Lord said, do what? Never trust your enemies. Because why? The so-called oppressor coming here, you don't know what else he's doing. What else he's going to do to these people.
Right.
You understand? Our brothers and sisters over in Venezuela. So like yes, sir.
Right. So again, we're almost up on the time. So just a reminder to brothers and sisters, our school location is number 1 Morris Street, Point 14. Okay, come on down. The number to call is 479-8286. Right. Any information, you can go up on our webpage, ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Right. Again, we have our common food and clothing drive. Again, check out our webpage to see or to get the the details on the date that that drive will be taking place. Again, just a reminder, this is the ISUPK, again under Command in General YAHANNA down here in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? Any closing remarks? Right? Anything I must have added?
No. So
right. So again, with that we say shalom. Right?
Shalom.
Huh? Yeah. How much? 15? All right. Yeah.